From the mouth of Horikoshi himself, he has announced that My Hero Academia will conclude in 5 chapters. I kind of expected this. I made a video on this about a month ago when we got the conclusion of our main final battle with Shigaraki, and I said that if there was going to be an announcement for when the series was going to conclude, it would probably be around the anniversary date of My Hero Academia. FYI, as you can see here, My Hero Academia's manga began on July 7th, 2014, almost 10 years ago in just a few weeks, and so with this announcement that Horikoshi has made, it's very fitting that he wanted to wrap up his series on the 10-year anniversary, so yeah, it is to be expected. But a lot of people, with the impressions that people got a few weeks back, people assume maybe Horikoshi might be extending the series with its epilogue maybe until September, maybe, at the end of the year. It was a potential possibility. But with this announcement, obviously thoughts and feelings are mixed within the community, and I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, My Hero Academia, it is coming to an end, and I think that it's legitimately fascinating to see a series that has, garnered so much attention over these last 10 years finally coming to a close, and it seems like it's coming to a close in Horikoshi's own terms. So let's read the translation of this before I go any further, and then I'll talk about the community interaction and how they're feeling and what's next for the story. So basically, this is a translation from this individual for, what Horikoshi posted officially in the magazine, and so yeah, there could be translation mistakes, I don't really know, but, I want to read it. So, sorry for taking a 2-week break. I had some schedules overlap each other like a mele fule. I don't know what language that is, so forgive me. I know I butchered that. This series will end in 5 chapters. You might be thinking there's still 5 chapters to go, or only 5 chapters left, but no matter which one you're thinking, I will strive to make an amazing 5 chapters that everyone can enjoy, along with Deku and the others. While the past 10 years or so were not without its bumps in the road, the fact I was able to continue Deku and Co.'s story is all thanks to you, the reader. It was like a dream. Thank you all truly. Anyways, I'll see you in the next Jump edition. This is honestly a very wholesome but quick-to-the-point statement from Horikoshi, basically saying, yeah, I'm wrapping up the story, and, everything that's happened these last 10 years, it is all thanks to you, the readers, and it's very true. I mean, I want to remind everybody on the humble origins of Horikoshi-sensei that a lot of people might have forgotten thanks to just the passage of time. Before My Hero Academia, Horikoshi had a few flops as manga. Like, he straight up tried to write series that were popular in the magazine, and they flopped really bad. And they didn't gain any attention or any support whatsoever, and eventually he decided to make something like My Hero Academia, which was clearly inspired from Marvel-type stories and DC-like stories, and it was very unique for the time period, because it was before the craze with Marvel and DC nowadays. It was very unique, and it stood out, and it kind of jumped onto the hype train that was, like, just Marvel movies itself. And Horikoshi made his series in a very unique time period, the right situation at the right time. And I think that it really garnered a lot of attention, especially is one of the big reasons that drew me to it, because the art style was just so unique and it stood out amongst the Weekly Shonen Jump peers that it instantly attracted a good audience. It reminded me a lot of like comic type art style, and I think everybody can kind of agree with that. That's Horikoshi's kind of design philosophy when it comes to characters and stuff. But the point is that his humble origins is that he legitimately was at the point of potentially giving up and might not have had a chance to writing a manga, but thanks to dedicated audience and all that, he managed to find a foothold and remain in the magazine for 10 years. It's honestly inspiring, regardless of how you feel about My Hero Academia or whatever, how the writing turned out, to see a man not give up and continue to write a story and then eventually be able to make it for 10 years is just, it's perseverance. I love that. It's absolutely an amazing achievement, and I'm very happy for Horikoshi, regardless of all the ups and downs he's probably had. But, yeah, now, with that being said, what is next for My Hero Academia? Well, judging by the latest chapters, we're probably going to have some shipping wars, getting pairings and stuff with the characters, who's going to end up with who, might get a major time skip and all that for the future, maybe even sequel bait. But at this time, there is no sequel bait. It's just more or less just basically saying that, yeah, we're just concluding the story of heroes and villains, and, that's about it. And I don't think there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Do I necessarily want a part 2 of My Hero Academia? Not really. I think that Horikoshi, I think he should move on to new, prosperous, aspects and manga that he wants to write. Because as much as I enjoy My Hero Academia, I feel like, he's learned a lot from it, and I would love to see what he would come up with as a different type of story that isn't, let's say, hero versus villains. But, yeah, it's a pretty sad day, because obviously the community has a lot of mixed reactions to this. You have those that are obviously incredibly sad. The mega fans of My Hero Academia are incredibly sad, because a series that people have actually been following for years now, almost a decade, is coming to a close. And then you have those that are more or less, in between. They just are indifferent because they didn't really care too much about My Hero Academia. They just know about it. And then you have those that are obviously celebrating the conclusion because they're tired of either the toxic fan base or they just don't like the series in general. Stuff like that. And one thing I know that's going to happen in these next few weeks, though, if I had to take an educated guess, is a lot of toxicity around the shipping pairs. Because if there's one thing anyone knows about, if you have been in the anime and manga community, is the pairing in the ships when it comes to this manga. It's almost to the level, I might actually even say it's worse than the Naruto ships and pairings with Sakura and Hinata at the end of Naruto. I think that the pairings here is going to get very toxic because you have a lot of these people with their headcanons that, Deku and Bakugo should be together or something. You have those that think that Ochiko should be with, like, Suyu. All these different type of things. I've seen pairings where Deku should be with All Might. Yeah, I've actually seen this. You get this stuff all the time. And I know for a fact it's about to get very, 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 very toxic. Because when it comes to a conclusion of a shonen stories in particular, it gets toxic because of the pairing. So I'm curious to see who's going to end up with who, what Horikoshi's going to do to handle that, and obviously, even with anything, even if he was to do it to the best of his ability, he's not going to satisfy everyone. That's just what happens when it comes to a conclusion of a story. No matter how good it is, how close to perfection it is, there will be those that dislike it, and that is bound to happen. But, yeah, it's going to be exciting next few weeks. I'm probably going to do videos for each individual chapter, but leaving it at that, though, I want to talk about just the origins of My Hero Academia. It's crazy to think, though, back in, like, 2014, when I made videos on this series for the first time, it wasn't even being officially translated. There was, like, only 3 or 4 chapters out, not officially translated. You just had to look at the Japanese scans and all that, and it was a very different time period for manga, honestly, in Weekly Shonen Jump chapters. We had, like, Manga Panda, we had, like, Manga Express. We had a bunch of different translators, very different fundamental people and groups than we do nowadays with manga and anime. But it's just crazy to think that a series that, relatively I still kind of slightly consider new gen is ending. And it's like one of the oldest series in the magazine for Weekly Shonen Jump, in fact. And only One Piece is really left that really has stood the test of time. And it's just wild to think that the whole magazine pretty much has just new series in it. And only One Piece is the really old one. Hunter x Hunter isn't even in the magazine anymore. We know Togashi has shifted magazines to a different, like, magazine within Shonen Jump. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's a sad time period. It's going to be sad to see the series come to a close, because if there is no sequel or anything like that, the fandom is just going to eventually dissipate. I'm curious to see where the fandom will gravitate towards, and, what series will be latched on next, because with, like, Black Clover basically being gone now, and, My Hero as well and stuff, and then Gintama, all these little series that's been with us for a very long time, JJK coming to a close very soon. I wonder what's next for Shonen. What is going to be the next big series that really is going to stay out? Is it going to be Kagurabachi? We will have to see. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. I felt like I needed to make this video because regardless of my personal thoughts and feelings for the last few years, which I have not made it very quiet, I have stated my opinions on it, I am still sad to see the series go. It's a marvelous achievement for Horikoshi to make it this far, and I'm happy for him, and it's sad to see it go. But okay, be safe, stay healthy, I love you guys, Chibi out.